Hello my fiery kittens, it's Firecats3 here, and today I thought I would review an anime because I am a complete weeb and I just finished it. No one else that I know has seen it. I just really want to talk about it. So, first off, I am horrible with pronouncing Japanese names. Please bear with me as I try and pronounce the title Kakushigoto, My Dad's Secret Ambition, which that is the title of the manga. The anime is called Kakushigoto. So this anime was officially released in sub in April 2020. So this is a very recent anime. The dubbing only recently finished in 2021. So this is the story of a single dad, Kakushigoto. Haha, his name is literally the name of the title. But the other reason his name is that is because Kakushigoto in Japanese, according to Google Translate, according to Wikipedia, according to like everywhere else I looked up, it means secret or hidden thing. And this entire story is about how Kakushigoto is trying to hide the fact that he is a dirty manga artist. When I say dirty manga artist, I mean like he draws dirty mangas. From his sweet, innocent daughter, Hime Goto. Funny enough, Hime's name means princess, so, you know, fun little things that they decide. Anyway, basically the whole story is just about how Kakushi is trying his best to hide the fact that he is a manga artist. He does things such as have a studio in another town, so none of his workers should run into Hime necessarily. He goes to work in a suit and then changes into comfortable clothes to draw manga, because let's be honest, all artists, let's all be honest, if you had to draw in a suit, you would feel so uncomfortable. Anyway, the story itself is really funny and cute. I would say that Kakushi is just like that essential dad character that you gotta love, because he's trying his best. Even if he keeps constantly messing up, you're just always smiling because he's got like the best dad vibes. He's just like, I want to make sure that Hime has a good childhood. And in one of the episodes, he learns how to make chicken because it's a thing that you do for birthdays, is you have a whole bunch of chicken apparently. And it's so cute because he learns how to cook it and he's like getting classes. It's just adorable. Hime, however, is not the best character. She's kind of just a stand-in character in my opinion. It's like we had to have a daughter character, so let's make her the most innocent and sweet and perfect daughter character you could have, because the story's really more about Kakushi. My biggest gripe is that since Hime doesn't really have a personality other than sweet loving daughter, they tried to give her like one flaw, which was that she was naive to everything, which is kind of just, you know, it's not really a flaw because it's handled as though, well, she's naive because she's a little kid and she's just so sweet about it, and you know, she's doing this because she knows her dad doesn't want her to know, which is just, it's not a flaw then it's like, this is a good thing about the character. At least in my opinion. That's my gripes with the Hime character in general. So the story itself is very funny. It starts out with this very lighthearted, just this is what you have to do in raising a daughter, and this is what you have to do if you're gonna hide your job from your daughter. Can you tell I love the premise? I just love this idea. However, as the story goes on, it does have this underlying thing of future Hime eventually realizing the secret, and there's like this big dramatic reason for her finding out later in the story when she's 18. And it's kind of, best way to say is, it had a progression in the story itself. So they would end the episode with an older version of Hime. So in the story, Hime is 10. And then they cut to the future where she's 18. And she's finding out all these secrets, which is a good way to kind of slowly bring in the premise that when she's older that she learns about it, and the whole, it was a big secret he kept for years kind of dramatic to it, which was a good idea to have it at the end of each episode. That's kind of, she finds something new, something interesting. There's a little talk about what's happening in the future. However, when you get to the ending and you learn about what's actually going on in the future, it's kind of just too rushed. They relegated it to one episode, and with how much information they put into that episode, it feels like boom, 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 plot point, plot point, plot point, plot point. It's just like, it's too much. It's so much to take in one episode, and then there's like weird little other kind of things that are just not important that are added in, that I think were added into the manga, and they decided, oh, this was important in the manga, we should put it in here, and then they didn't actually put it into the series itself, they just put it at the end of the series. So yeah, that's my warning. The ending is not great. I will say though that the animation is spot on. Personally, I love how they took the main characters and all the characters kind of just gave them very simple designs, smaller eyes than normal for anime. Anime usually has really big expressive eyes, however these guys had kind of really small eyes for anime and not very colorful. They're very monotone in that sense. And the characters were very soft drawn, like they felt like noodly, kind of. Really soft characters. They weren't harsh lines. No, the best way I think about it, if you think of like an action anime, like there's a ton of harsh lines in there because they have to be in dramatic attack mode. However, this show was so soft and sweet that like the characters just move as though they're soft and sweet and innocent, and it's just really sweet. They're drawn almost like plush dolls, in my opinion, like those little long dolls you would get when you were a kid. You know, I mean, very soft. If you could touch these characters, I would think they feel like soft blanket type feeling. Backgrounds for the animation are actually kind of painterly in the way they're done. They have multiple color shading with absolutely no harsh lines. Like, everything is very light and colorful kind of feel. It makes the characters stand out a lot more because there is a physical outline on them, whereas the backgrounds don't have physical outlines. It makes it very nice and kind of adds to the homey and sweet feel of the story. At least these are my opinions. The other thing I would like to say is that this anime is done in dub and sub. Like I said in the beginning, the dub finished in January, the sub finished in June, so you are all set if you want to go watch this series in your preferred version. If you are a sub only, you can watch it in subs. If you're a dub only, you can watch it in dubbing. It was dubbed by Funimation, and that's where I watched it, so it is pretty decent dubbing in my opinion. I have not had a Funimation dubbing that I necessarily hated personally, but you know, you might have a different opinion, but I would say that this dubbing is really good. The character voices really fit. I think whoever did the dad's voice was really good. The editor's voice, his voice fits him so perfectly. Like, he just sounds like that kind of guy who just doesn't know what anything's going on at all, and I love him. Hime is precious. Her voice is adorably sweet and innocent. It kind of reminds me of, if any of you watched Code Geass, if you know the character Nonoli, it's kind of like that type of voice where it's really soft and muted. It's a sweet character. So overall, I would say that if you haven't seen this, this is a very good, wholesome anime to watch. There's not really many dirty jokes, even though there's a dirty manga that the main character is writing, which, by the way, is called Tights in the Wind. And when I heard that, I don't know why, but it just made me laugh the first time I heard that was the title. It's like when a kid laughs at 69, it's like, it's not funny, but I still was like, Tights in the Wind. Yeah. Anyway, it is a very good, wholesome series. I would say it is a B tier anime because the ending is really flawed, but the rest of it's really good. Like, if you didn't need to know the ending, I would say just skip the last episode. You'll like it better if you skip the last episode. But other than the ending being like beyond rushed, the series is really well written, it is very sweet, and it is very, very wholesome. So anyone who wants to go now watch it, because I did not spoil anything, please go watch it now, because now I'm going to get into the specific details of the series that I want to talk about. So I'm gonna give you 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Alright, if you have not left, then you have seen the series, or you're just not taking my warning, and whatever. Hey, it's up to you, man. So, we're gonna start with my gripes. In the story, there is a character known as the grandpa character, and he comes from Hime's mother's side. He is just not used well. The problem is that he does not have his own character arc. He's kind of just brought up occasionally. He does 2 nice things in the whole series. One is giving Hime the puppy. Well, he gives it to Dad, and then the dad gives it to Hime. He does end up indirectly giving her a dog, and he does pay for Kakushi's medical bills in the end. But it was also like, just, you never actually physically meet the grandpa except once when he's talking to Kakushi in a limo. You meet him like once, but all you know about him is that him and Kakushi hate each other because he's a painter type of artist, so he believes the fundamentals are important, the whole painting thing is important, and he thinks that the fact that Kakushi's a manga artist is beneath him and horrible and all that. Weird side thing. Kakushi and him agree on the fact that neither one of them want their daughter to marry a manga artist. Which in my opinion is just like, really? You hate yourself that much? Kakashi, like, dude. If you think you're a good person, then you should be like cool with your daughter marrying someone who's like you, type of thing. But I digress. Anyway, my problem is that the grandpa character is barely in the story, even though he's kind of a major part of the story, and he just doesn't seem to have any type of real interaction with the characters other than small interactions with Kakushi. And I feel like it just feels like a missed opportunity, because in the end he does pay for the medical bills. It would have been cool to have a scene somewhere earlier in the series in which the grandpa and Kakushi are kind of bonding. I think the dog was supposed to be them bonding. After it, you feel that Kakushi is just still really resentful of the fact that this guy gave him the dog. Like, he really hates him. Same with the grandpa, and it's just like, you could have had a sweet moment, you know? You could have had this moment, you could have brought it up, and then you would have had Hime get to finally meet her grandfather, and just, this character seems like he's so much more important, and then if you watch the series, he doesn't feel important, but he's got important parts to him, like, he's the one who named Hime, which is just, why did we not expand on that? That's interesting. Why did he name Hime Princess out of every name there? It just didn't feel like that character got enough time to shine. My next gripe is small. This is very much a nitpick, but the way the mother dies, I feel, was kind of really over dramatic. In the show, the way she dies is that basically she was aboard like a cruise ship, and the cruise ship goes missing, so she's a part of the missing people who were never found. And the reason they did this was because later on, Kakushi loses his job as a manga artist because people find out that he is still looking for his missing wife, which makes people go, now I can't read his stuff because he writes comedy. His life is so tragic. It's hard to read comedy when you know the life of the artist is very tragic. Which is fine, but it could have also just been them learning that his wife is dead and he's a single father. Like, that's still tragic. I feel like the missing persons was a little over the top. But that's my opinion. You can completely disagree with me there. Alright, we're getting into the things that I really disliked. Okay. In the last episode, they bring in a character who calls Hime sister. It was brought up the second to last episode, end of that, and then the last episode, we start on that point, and it is completely just like gone, oh, no, we're not actually related as brother and sister. We're cousins because our parents are related because your dad was a secret love child. It's just like, what was the point of that? barely touched on. The character does not appear again after that. It established that technically her aunt then, the sister of Hime's dad, was just, she's the one who gave Hime the key to the secret storage set of all the manga. But I don't know, it feels too contrived. You could have just had one of the people who worked for Kakashi could have given her the key. The one with the very light hair. She even states, she's like, oh, and poor Hime, and she's talking to the editor about how, Hime is now realizing and learning all the secrets, and like, she could have easily been the one to give the key. Like, I don't think Kakashi trusted anyone more than his staff. There's no one else that he trusted more with his secrets about Hime. So why couldn't you just have one of them give Hime the key? Again, I think it was something in the manga that was like really, really important, but they were like, hey, we don't have time to explain this, we'll just add it in on the last episode. And you're just like, really? Because now it makes no sense in the anime. And that's my first gripe about the ending that makes it feel really rushed. The second gripe about the ending that makes it feel really rushed is the fact that it just is like boom, 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 boom. It needed to be spaced out more. There needed to be more turmoil. This is the point in time where you could really develop Hime. You could have gone to see the past and see more of what she was dealing with. You could have brought in more of her friends again, and besides having them just chase her down to help her find a manga, you could have actually dealt with these feelings she's having of where the only person in her entire world that cared about her was her dad, and now he can't even remember her. I mean, there is so much you can do with that premise, and they allotted it to one episode and rushed it, and I didn't like that. And can I just say, why is it the manga that gives his memory back? Don't get me wrong, he really cared about his manga, and he loved writing his manuscripts and all that. But the fact that it's the manga that brings his memory back as opposed to things with Hime that would have brought his memory back, I felt like they should have done manga mixed with things that him and Hime did together. There's the episode with the candy. She could have brought a box of that candy. She could have brought in the dog that he got her. She could have brought a box of chicken. There's so much he would do for her and care about her, and he cared so much. He worked his hardest to not even reveal his job, to the point where he wore a suit every day, ran to a costume shop, put on his regular clothes, went to work, went back to that costume shop, put on a suit, and ran home. This was a dedicated dad. Why is it the manga that brings his memory back? Why isn't it things about Hime? Which actually does bring up one more negativity. Why did he have boxes for Hime if he was never going to show her that storage house? He had boxes. Hime confirms that it's her dad's handwriting on the boxes for her up to 18. Why, if he was never gonna let her see what was in that house, why would he have boxes there saved for her for when she turned 18? Also, that was something her mother did to prepare. So the few things we get about the mother is that the boxes, and that she went against her family to marry Kakashi. I took it as that the mother was always organized and Kakashi wasn't, because he comes off as one of those types of characters. He comes off as a dad character that just doesn't know what he's doing at all. So it was weird that he had boxes. He might have tried to do it in memory of the wife, but then at the same time I'm like, why would he put it there where it's a house that she was never meant to go into? It was meant to be sold if Hime needed money. Anyway, besides all my nitpicks, there were a few things I thought were very clever in the show. For example, I thought, this was my interpretation of it, the fact that the story that we see is of when Hime is 10, and the fact that when he wakes up from the coma, all he can remember is when she was 10. It was kind of a cool idea. As we're watching the show, when we are with Hime who is 10, we are in the coma. We are with Kakashi in his perception of reality. That's why Hime is so flawless. That's why everything seems to always work out. That's how he perceives the past. And then the glimpses into the future are reality hitting us and reality showing us what's really going on. That would be a cool idea if that's what they were going for, was the whole, hey, this is his perspective, and then but reality will hit you much harder, because the tonal shift of how he got in the coma is like heavy. Just really, really heavy. Like, he loses his favorite job, he starts doing labor, which he's not good at, and he gets attacked by the thing that he loves the most. He literally goes into a coma because a stack of manga falls on top of him. Like, ow, poor guy. Other things I really liked. I loved that Kakashi, even though that he had the stereotypical guy in a anime superpowers where all the women love you, he was still like oblivious to it. He only cared about his daughter and his late wife. He was all around a good boy. I love the fact that the background artist for his manga, one of them actually ended up becoming her own manga artist, writer, and she took the ones that worked under him and was like, I will continue your job, come work for me. So that's cool, especially since she ended up being one of the tops. So that was cool. I gotta say, I loved Space Cadet editor. He was so much fun. He was just like, kind of, yeah, I think I'm doing right, and then he thinks I'm doing wrong. Oh, the one episode in which he sets this whole thing up with the boss to have a meeting with Kakashi so that he can get free fancy food, without realizing that he's got both sides thinking the other's gonna demand something of them. Kakashi just thinks that he's gonna be told that he's being let go and that he's gonna finish the manga, Tights in the Wind. And the boss man, he thinks that Kakashi's gonna want colored beiges. It's like, it was so comedic. I hate cringe comedy. I'm not a big fan of it, but this was just like beautifully done. It was just so much of, the entire time I'm going, oh, you idiot. Still loved it. Yeah. And of course, all the characters were fun. The teacher that just seems to always be running everywhere. She's just everywhere and always misinterprets everything. The other artists, they're like begging, come on boss, please take us to fancy stuff. Come on boss, let's do this. It's just every character has such an interesting personality and it's so much fun to listen to them. I loved this anime. I say it's definitely B tier because, well, you heard me, I had so many nitpicks about just the whole ending. It was just bad. But minus all that, the story was really good. The characters are adorable. And even though Hime is a bit of a Mary Sue, she is still lovable. So I would say if you are interested in watching this anime, I would definitely recommend it. It is fun, it is wholesome. Just know the ending's a little disappointing. Other than that, that is my review. If you have a recommendation for me to watch, please leave them in the comments below. I love hearing from you guys. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Firecats 3 out.